Wendy, can you tell me what happened?
I woke up and I heard it. It was screaming.
I need your help. Get something and bring it to me. An egg.
I think we need to think about what's gonna happen if this whole thing goes to hell.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. They dropped a trailer for Alien Earth Episode 4. There's a bunch of new footage, so we'll break it all down. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the episodes. The episode title is Observation. Based on the trailer footage, sounds like more of a reference to the Prodigy team watching Wendy after she was damaged in the fight with the Xenomorph, then broke down in pain after hearing the facehugger's screams, which she talks about, "I heard it screaming." Just given all kinds of Silence of the Lambs vibes, Silence of the Xenomorphs. Also a reference to them monitoring the development of the new Xenomorph that they started at the end of the episode, growing inside her brother's lung that they borrowed. Gonna be a funny conversation to explain that one, because Wendy doesn't realize what they did, but she also seems fascinated by it, maybe because she can hear the chest burster, like the little tiny chest burster, as it gets ready to bust out of the tank at her. There's also the eyeball tentacle creature, which is all about watching things with all of those eyes, monitoring things. Seems like they're going to test it on that lamb, R.I.P., that lamb. Nibs seems like she's watching the doctor here with hostile intent for some reason, just like slowly losing it, going mental. So there's just a lot of different things being watched and studied for different reasons, both good and bad, in this episode. The official synopsis just reads, "An unexpected connection is formed while a covert plot puts everyone in danger." That's probably a reference to the connection that Wendy seems like she's forming with the new Xenomorph and just all the Xenomorphs in general through her ability to pick up on the wavelength they communicate on. But it does seem like she makes some kind of connection with this new Xenomorph that's growing inside her brother's lung. So far, we haven't seen any of the other hybrids demonstrate the ability to pick up on the Xenomorph's wavelength. Now, the other hybrids have shown that they do detect higher wavelengths than regular humans, like their ears are more sensitive than regular humans, but Wendy is like a level above that. So we'll probably just learn a little bit more about Wendy's connection with them. Also, because this new Xenomorph will be using her brother's bits, that might have something to do with the stronger bond that she forms with it, just because there's some DNA that they might share. You remember, per previous canon from the movies, alien xenomorphs take on characteristics of the things that they incubate in.
Need your help. Get something and bring it to me. An egg.
Then the part about the covert plot putting everyone in danger seems like more of a reference to Morrow's grand plan to get onto the island and steal the eggs and the other alien specimens, and maybe that has something to do with this new xenomorph that forms, escaping containment and getting loose on the island, putting everybody in danger. In the trailer, you see him talking to Slightly again, trying to get him to steal a single egg. There's probably something that happens when he does that causes the Xenomorph to get loose. Part of the other idea, too, is that if he were able to steal an egg, that's potentially another Xenomorph, two Xenomorphs that could be running around the island. So just more and more danger heightening. But I think we're all predicting that there was going to be a Xenomorph loose on the island at some point, at least one of them. You remember there are 5 other eggs though, so those have to turn into Xenomorphs at some point. There's new footage of Kirsch touching the eggs inside the containment device, giving off a lot of David vibes. He's a synthetic just like David, and they've kind of been pushing him in his storyline the first couple episodes in a very David type of direction. You remember the whole idea with David is that he actually got pissed off that he was viewed as inferior by his creators, by Weyland, when he thought himself superior. He wanted to play God. A lot of the Kirsch and Boy Cavalier plot the first couple of episodes have given off those vibes. Treats him badly, is inferior to the hybrids. Kirsch seemed annoyed by it, like he's starting to dislike Boy Cavalier more and more. He did recently save his life from a facehugger, like, no, don't get near that because it will incubate inside you and it won't go well. But it just seems like he's growing more and more fascinated by the Xenomorphs, the same way that David became fascinated by them and then tinkered on them, did a lot of genetic experiments, and turned them into the Xenomorphs that we know from all the Alien movies. So part of the idea is that all the Alien movies, starting with the first Alien film in the timeline and going forward from that, all those Xenomorphs, those eggs, came from David's line that he created through genetic experimentation. Really quick timeline explainer on this too, just because people wondering when the Prometheus movie happened, when Alien Covenant happened, when this Alien Earth series is happening in the timeline, when the original Alien movies are happening. So which eggs, which group of Xenomorphs are running around during which part of the timeline? What did Weyland Yutani know and when did they know it?
What is it then?
Well, it looks like a warning.
The whole idea is that the Prometheus mission took off from planet Earth in the year 2091. It was a 2-year mission, so they landed on the Founders substation planet in that movie LV 223 in 2093, a full 27 years before the events of Alien Earth. At the end of that movie, David and Elizabeth Shaw left in the Founders ship to go to their planet. David unleashes their chemical on them, killing their entire race, and then proceeds to genetically experiment on the Xenomorphs, creating the ones that you know from the original Alien movie and going forward in the timeline from that. Alien Covenant took place 11 years later in 2104, a full 16 years before Alien Earth picks up. So the whole idea with those two movies is that Ridley Scott said he wanted to explain the origin of that mystery pilot in the alien ship on LV-426. Where did he come from? Where did those eggs come from? That is all David's handiwork, ultimately. Morrow then told us that the Maginot's mission was 65 years long and that was ending as episode 1 of the series begins. So that means their ship left Earth in 2055, long before Prometheus' mission began. While their 65-year mission was going on, they were just grabbing alien specimens left and right from different worlds that Weyland Yutani had surveyed as part of their original goal to mine resources around the galaxy. You remember, even though there's a lot of this alien xenomorph subplot that's been going on through all the movies, Weyland Yutani is this massive mega corporation, earns a lot of its money through all the deep space mining of minerals and resources. That's what the whole Nostromo was meant for in the first place. They were a deep space mining vessel. So they have a whole fleet of ships out just doing that. All the alien egg subplot stuff through the movies is just something they have a couple of their ships doing secretly. Morrow never gave them an exact timeline of their 65-year mission. He just said at some point in those 65 years, they found the 6 eggs on a moon somewhere. He didn't say they were the only eggs they found. He just said that they took 6 eggs. And while that was happening, they got at least 2 more facehuggers in containment, meaning that they had some encounter with one that was used to create the xenomorph we saw running around their ship in episode 1. And there was another one at some point too that we don't know what happened to it. Like there was just another facehugger that was in those tubes that they were studying. And he never said which moon they went to get these eggs, so it's totally possible that these eggs are from the batch that David helped create with all his genetic tampering, and the moon that they visited was LV-426 with all those eggs. Because they could have visited the moon during the 65 years in the chunk of time after the events of Alien Covenant, like towards the end of their mission.
Find something on a faraway moon. Eggs.
You remember, they didn't say when during that 65 years they found the eggs, whether it was like at the very end of the 65 years or in the middle or early on in the 65 years. It sounds like it happened a little bit later. So I do think it's easier for them to fit this in the canon so that this comes from David's batch of eggs. Also the idea that these xenomorphs look very similar to the ones we saw in the movies, and those ones were based on David's genetic tampering, like they came from his line ultimately. You also remember that Weyland Yutani got communications from each of the different teams in the movies, so they knew what happened during the events of Prometheus and Alien Covenant before the events of episode 1 here. So it's totally possible that they picked up on the communications from each of these different missions and saw how they ended disastrously, but learned about David's new special xenomorphs, then just diverted the Maginot towards the end of their mission to pull them out of cryo, grab a couple eggs, jump back into cryo, and finish the journey back to Earth. Noah Hawley, the showrunner, who did have a couple cameos in the first episodes as Wendy and CJ's father, said that he was ignoring some of the canonical elements from Prometheus and Alien Covenant, but he didn't say which bits of canon he was ignoring. I think just the part where humans were created by engineers as a failed experiment that they were planning to wipe out and start over before David killed them all. Like, just ignore the engineers part of that storyline. There's a bunch more trailer footage of the doctors talking about the hybrids going bad and things ending terribly on the island, feeling remorseful for killing the little kids, because that is kind of what happened if they weren't clear about it in the first episode. They transferred their minds, sort of like a copy-paste situation, then had to euthanize their previous bodies, their child bodies, so that there wouldn't be 2 of them running around, because essentially they just copied the data from their brains. There's footage of the fully formed second xenomorph. Notice it does look very different. It has the yellowish colored skull just to help you tell it apart from the last xenomorph. Like, oh, this is a totally different one. Then there's more footage of the hybrids in a containment device for some reason on the island. Not really sure what's going on here. Then there's footage of them geared up heading on a mission around the island, I'm assuming to find the new Xenomorph that has gotten out at some point. Like, this was very predictable. Like, of course it was going to get out around the island somewhere. Ann Kirsch talking to Wendy's brother, implying that Wendy is no longer just a child. She's become something more. I think to continue paying off the fight where she destroyed a Xenomorph using her superhuman abilities, like she says she's learning how to do things that she couldn't do before. So because of her ability to communicate with the Xenomorphs and seeming dominance over them, a lot of people have been wondering, will Wendy just become the new queen of this hive that's slowly forming on the island? Remember, there are 5 other eggs, so there could be 5 other Xenomorphs, like 6 Xenomorphs running around. If you look at the key art for the series, it also shows her face transposed inside of the alien's skull. So people, when that came out, were like, what does this mean? Is she going to be part of one of the aliens? Like, if she's going to be part alien at some point? That was probably just meant to tease the connection that she forms with them. So maybe this will have something to do with her being able to actually influence their actions.
I woke up and I heard it. It was screaming.
I don't know if she would literally become their queen, but there might be a couple of funny references to that in the background, like, oh, guess what? She can actually tell them to do stuff. She's already been shown to be able to control machines, which they didn't know that she'd be able to do. Now she's been able to communicate with the Xenomorphs. How long before she also figures out how to influence them? Do you think she's going to gain control of the drones? Is that even possible? Maybe that's the big WTF for the series finale for season 1 here, is that she does have some stronger connection with them. We'll probably see more Easter eggs and foreshadowing for things that'll be happening later in the Alien timeline during the movies that we've already seen in real life. But because there's so much new footage in these, if there's any Easter eggs or references or bits that you spotted that I didn't talk about, just write them below in the comments and I'll add them to my future videos. My full episode 4 video will post next week after they release it. And remember, there's going to be 8 episodes total this season. And later this week, we're going to be getting Peacemaker episodes. I'll be doing videos for that as well too. Everybody click here for my full episode 4 video. I'll update the link as soon as I post that next week. And click here for all my other Alien Earth episodes. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.